The dealership monopoly. How middlemen siphon billions from the middle class. What if I told you that every time you buy a new car, you are paying a hidden $4,000 tax, not to the government, but to a legally protected cartel? In America, you can buy a $3,000 laptop directly from Apple. You can buy a $1 million house directly from the builder. But try to buy a Ford or a Toyota directly from the factory? In most states, it is literally illegal. Welcome to the dealership monopoly. For decades, we've been told that local car dealers are just friendly neighborhood businesses competing to get you the best price. That is a carefully funded LIE. The reality is that an outdated web of state laws has forcefully inserted a completely unnecessary middleman into the supply chain. And this legally mandated toll booth is quietly siphoning billions of dollars out of the middle class, trapping everyday Americans and crushing long-term auto debt. Today, we are exposing the exact playbook these middlemen use to artificially inflate car prices, how they bought off the government to protect their racket, and the psychological traps waiting for you in the financing room. To understand the scam, we have to look at the rule book. Between the 1930s and 1970s, states passed franchise laws to protect small mom-and-pop dealerships from being bullied by giant automakers. But today, those laws have mutated into a weapon. Now they function as a structural barrier that forces consumers into a two-tier purchasing system. Imagine if Apple wasn't allowed to sell you an iPhone. Instead, by law, you had to buy it from a guy named Crazy Larry. And before Larry hands over your phone, he adds a $300 rust-proofing fee, a mandatory $150 screen wipe charge, and marks up your interest rate. If you try to bypass Larry and buy straight from Tim Cook, the police show up. That is exactly how buying a car works in America. According to recent economic studies, these state franchise laws act as a mandatory middleman tax, adding roughly $3,934 to $4,992 in completely unnecessary costs to the average $50,000 vehicle. The National Automobile Dealers Association, or NADA, claims that this franchise system actually lowers costs and benefits consumers. But the math tells a very different story. The deception became so extreme that the Federal Trade Commission just had to introduce the CARS rule to explicitly ban dealers from using bait-and-switch pricing and charging you for literal junk add-ons that provide zero benefit. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed to extract maximum capital from you. But what happens when someone tries to break the wheel? Enter companies like Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid. These companies looked at the middleman model and said, "No thanks, we're just going to sell our cars directly to the customer online." The dealership lobby went into absolute panic mode. They didn't try to outcompete these new companies. They just called their politicians. Dealership associations poured millions of dollars into state legislatures to aggressively ban direct-to-consumer vehicle sales. They weaponized the law to make sure you have no choice but to walk into their showrooms. Why? Because the showroom isn't actually where they make their real money. The most dangerous room in a dealership isn't the sales floor. It's a tiny windowless box in the back called the F&I room, finance and insurance. Dealerships today are essentially unregulated financial extraction machines. Over half of a new car dealership's gross profit often comes straight from the F&I office. When you sit down to sign the paperwork, they aren't just selling you a car. They are selling you marked up interest rates, gap insurance, extended warranties, and nitrogen-filled tires. The dealer is allowed to act as the loan originator and legally mark up the bank's interest rate, keeping the difference for themselves. They don't want to sell you a vehicle. They want to sell you a 72-month financial prison sentence. So, who actually pays the bill for this legally protected monopoly? You do. While the dealership lobby argues they are protecting the consumer, the reality is that auto dealership owners are consistently some of the wealthiest individuals in your entire state. They build sprawling mega-groups, buy up local competition, and utilize massive tax write-offs, all while shielding their empires behind laws that outlaw true free-market competition. Meanwhile, the American middle class is drowning. The average car payment is skyrocketing, not just because of inflation, but because a multi-billion-dollar intermediary class is legally entitled to take their cut before you get the keys. You aren't just paying for the steel, the engine, and the labor. You are paying for the dealership's massive glass showroom, their local TV ads, and the owner's yacht. I want you to think about the last time you bought a car. Do you actually think you got a good deal? Let me know in the comments right now. What is the most ridiculous dock fee, market adjustment, or hidden scam a dealer tried to slide past you in the financing room? Sound off below because the numbers are staggering. The dealership monopoly proves one terrifying reality about the modern economy. The rules of the free market only apply to the working class. If you are rich enough and you lobby hard enough, you can literally make it illegal for your customers to buy from anyone else. But the auto industry isn't the only place the middle class is being quietly siphoned by corporate middlemen. If you think the car dealership monopoly is rigged, wait until you see how the American housing market was quietly bought up from right under our noses. 3 Wall Street firms have figured out a loophole to ensure you can never afford a home. Click the video on your screen right now to see exactly how they did it, and I'll see you there.